Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to a report by Lianhe Zobao, the conflict between the United States and Iran has escalated significantly. Iran's Revolutionary Guard announced on Wednesday, June 10, that its drones attacked the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet anchored in Bahrain, with both sides reportedly still engaged in clashes. This military action was carried out by the Iranian armed forces in response to what they termed U.S. aggression in southern Iran. Previously, the U.S. Central Command had launched retaliatory airstrikes on Iranian air defense facilities and radars near the Strait of Hormuz, following the shoot-down of a U.S. Apache helicopter. According to Iranian media, the U.S. strikes damaged a communication tower and destroyed water tanks in the port city of Sirak, while explosions were also reported on Iran's Keshem Island and in the western city of Avaz. Iran has warned of a much harsher response if U.S. military actions continue, while U.S. media outlets report that the American military is already conducting a third round of strikes against Iranian targets. According to Nippon TV News NNN, the main tower of Spain's iconic Sagrada Familia, the Tower of Jesus, has been completed, marking a major milestone for the unfinished cathedral after more than 140 years of construction. Standing at 172.5 meters tall, with a cross at its peak, the tower makes the Sagrada Familia the tallest church building in the world. To celebrate this historic achievement and honor the legacy of its legendary architect, Antoni Gaudi, a commemorative mass and ceremony will be held on June 10, 2026, which coincides with the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. Pope Leo XIII is scheduled to visit Barcelona to lead the service. Preparations are actively underway outside the cathedral, with screens being set up and cleanup operations taking place to welcome the pontiff and thousands of Catholic faithful who have already begun gathering. Believers from around the world have expressed immense excitement at the prospect of witnessing the Pope's arrival and the historic celebration of the newly completed tower. According to a report by Lianhe Zobao, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced on Wednesday, June 10, that it intercepted and destroyed a U.S. Air Force MQ-9 Reaper drone in Bushehr province. The high-tech drone carries an estimated cost of $30 million. This incident occurred shortly after the United States Central Command announced that it completed self-defense airstrikes against Iranian air defense systems, ground control stations, and radar facilities near the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. airstrikes, ordered by President Donald Trump, were conducted in retaliation for Iran's downing of a U.S. Army Apache attack helicopter on June 8th. Tensions between the two nations continue to escalate following these consecutive military confrontations in the region. According to UPI, South Korea and the United States have aligned on Seoul's initiative to build nuclear-powered submarines domestically, viewing it as a vital capability to strengthen their alliance's defense on the Korean peninsula. During the inaugural meeting to implement the bilateral joint fact sheet, South Korean Foreign Ministry officials stated that the U.S. delegation raised no objections to South Korea building the submarines at home, despite prior social media remarks from U.S. President Donald Trump suggesting construction at a U.S. shipyard. In addition to the submarine project, the two allies discussed expanding South Korea's uranium enrichment and spent fuel reprocessing rights. This would require adjusting the current bilateral civil nuclear cooperation agreement, known as the 123 Agreement. While the talks proceeded in a constructive atmosphere, South Korean officials remain cautious. To address international non-proliferation concerns, President Lee Jae-myung emphasized South Korea's commitment to non-proliferation norms, calling separate domestic nuclear weapons development irresponsible. both nations have agreed to accelerate follow-up consultations and working-level talks to deepen their security and nuclear energy partnership. According to Mainichi Shimbun, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi marked his 4,399th day in office on June 10, 2026, establishing the longest consecutive tenure for a democratically elected prime minister in India's history. The 75-year-old leader surpassed the consecutive tenure of India's first prime minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, who governed after the country's first general election in 1952. Modi had previously overtaken the 4,077-day record of India's first female prime minister, Indira Gandhi, in July 2025. Modi first took office in 2014 after leading his party to victory in the general election and maintained his leadership through subsequent victories in 2019 and 2024. He is expected to lead his third-term administration until 2029. Throughout his over 12 years in office, Modi has driven strong economic growth by prioritizing infrastructure development. However, his long tenure has also generated controversy, with critics pointing out that his policies have contributed to religious polarization and a widening wealth gap in the country. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.